Hey everybody, welcome back to What's New in School for May 27th, 2026. Shawn Tierney here, your instructor at theautomationschool.com. And I got a really big announcement, but before we get into that, I did want to share what's new and what I've been working on. Last week, ISA invited me to speak at their Florida Automation Expo, and it was kind of a crazy few days, flying out, speaking and attending the show, and then flying back. And so I know I hadn't done one of these in a while, so I definitely wanted to share with you what I've been working on here at the school. And before I get to the huge announcement, let's just take care of a couple of things that have been going on here. First of all, just a reminder that the spring sale, that spring 2026 coupon expires midnight or 11:59 p.m. on May 31st. So if you're looking to pick up one of my courses or course bundles and you would like to save 20% over the regular prices, which are already very affordable, check that out. You do have to type the coupon in and apply it on your when you check out, but that sale ends at the end of this month. Also, because I can't have a bunch of students sign up at the last minute, if you want to sign up for my hands-on training right here in this training room from June 9th to 11th, you got a call. I'm only taking 2 or 3 additional students, all from the same company. So if you have a company and you want to send 2 or 3 people, or I could probably do up to 4 people, you got to contact me directly. I can't have random people signing up last minute because I have to prepare for that class as it's coming up in a couple of weeks, right? So contact me directly if you want to send a group of people out to that. Of course, we can always schedule some custom training for just your people. I'm working with a paper mill and a big company out of Texas and some other places to do just that here this summer. So feel free to reach out to me if you just say, hey, I want to send 2 or 3 of my guys out there and learn. Believe it or not, a lot of people are asking for PLC 5 and Slick 500, even though most of what I focus on these days is Compact and ControlLogix. But hey, we'll teach them whatever they need to know, right? So in any case, I want to go on to the next thing I've been working on. And one of the new things I'm doing for the 2026 PLC course is, ControlLogix, Compact Logix, Micro 800, MicroLogix, Slick 500, and PLC 5, I'm doing them all, is I'm going to try to put as much information as I can into them. Because I already have the existing courses, I don't feel like I have to rush and get these out, in the next week or two. So I'm trying to cram as much information as I can into these. And one of the things I decided to do was grab Rockwell's free presentations and then add a bunch of my notes to them and then give them to my students free of charge. So, if you want to go out and grab Rockwell's free presentations, you can do that right now. You don't need me to help you with that. But I thought I'd grab them all, combine them, put a bunch of notes on them, and then give those away as free handouts because, of course, the majority of it is Rockwell's content, right? But give it away free like Rockwell does, but with my notes. That's the addition that students will get. And that way you guys can have it as a resource and I don't have to worry about people pirating my own content, right? So let me know what you think, but you should see those start to show up very quickly. Here you can see 3 of the very large presentations I'm working on. Again, just taking Rockwell's free presentations that you can grab yourself today and adding my instructor notes to the slides and actually combining them. So there are so many different presentations they make that I figured I'd just combine them all and hand out these compilations to students free of charge. In any case, you can see some of the ones I'm working on here. I've done the 5570, 5580, 5590. I've done the 53, 70, 80, and 90 as well. I did the Micro 800, the initial, the new products, and then the refresh that just came out. I'm working on the MicroLogix. I think I'm about 50% done on that one. And then for the Slick 500 and PLC 5, most people didn't have PowerPoint when those came out. So those would be really based on Rockwell's literature. And actually for those students, since a lot of that literature has been removed from Rockwell's website, thankfully, I got those free PDFs when they handed them out. So I'll be giving them again to my students free of charge because you know what? If Rockwell doesn't have enough hard drive space to keep those old documents on their website, we surely do. So we'll be giving you those free PDFs. They're very hard to find. A lot of places on the net want to charge you to get access to one of Rockwell's free PDFs. I think that's weird. But in any case, students, we're just going to give you, I've archived this stuff since in the mid-90s. So I'll be giving that to my students as well. So you'll have a complete literature set, whether it's the PLC 5, Slick 500, MicroLogix, and so on. So in any case, I did want to cover that. Those you're going to be seeing. Along with those lessons, you will see the downloads for those free slide decks with my personal notes. Now, I also want to state that I did divide these up. I'm not going to do 55, 70, 80, and 90 all in one. I just want to make sure the lessons are bite size. So if you guys, you're stressed, you maybe only have 10 or 15 minutes every morning to take a lesson, I want to break those down. I may even go back and break down some of my other lessons and make shorter versions of them, because I want you guys to be able to take these lessons in bite-sized chunks. Now, sometimes the programming lessons, they have to stay as a longer 20-minute lesson. You just can't get around that sometimes because building code for a big system can take that long. But in any case, I did want to share that with you. That's why you'll see it broken up into like 3 different presentations. I'm breaking up IO into a separate presentation and so on. So in any case, now here's the big announcement: Logix LIVE Summer Bootcamp. It is ready to go. This is something I've been working on. I have all the collateral that I've built for these online courses. I'm like, I'm going to do a live session too. I know some of you learn better by, interacting with somebody during a live meeting, right? Not everybody can come out to the beautiful Berkshires and take my in-person training. So I'm launching Logix Live Summer Bootcamp 2026, and you can purchase it right now. You can reserve your seat in it because it's going to be an online live stream where we meet 10 times for 2 hours each time. There's really no limit. I'm not limited to just 8 people here in the office. There is an upper limit, I think, of maybe 100 people or something. But I'm very excited to announce this, and I want to go through it with you. I'll do a shorter video on the other channel just so that, and on the blog, just so people who are interested can learn more about it in a short period. But in any case, the first thing is this is going to be a 10-session, each session of 2 hours in length, boot camp, right? We're going to talk about Logix, right? From scratch all the way through advanced. I'm going to go as far as I can go and cover as much content as I can cover. It's going to be 20 hours total. So when you finish this boot camp in September, you're going to have 20 extra PDHs on your certificate. Now, it's going to run from July 7th. I was going to start it earlier in June, but I figure some people may have extra time off around July 4th. And then there's a lot of things going on in June here. We got classes going on. And so I figured I'd just start it after, in July 7th. And it's going to run through September 15th. Now, you may notice that's actually 11 weeks because one of those weeks I will be on vacation. So I have all that information on the website. You can see exactly what dates. And I'm going to hold it on Tuesdays from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern. Now, why 7 to 9? Previously, when I did Logix Live, it was 6 to 8. Typically, I'm up at 4 o'clock, so I'm hitting the sack pretty early. But I figured by doing 7 to 9, we give people a chance to get home, eat, whether they're on the East Coast or they're on the Central Time Zone, which is, I think, 60 to 70% of the country. You guys should have time to get home and grab a bite to eat before you jump on the call. So in any case, I know it might be hard for people on the West Coast, but again, being self-employed, I got to focus on the majority of the country and try to get the most people into the session as possible. I can do custom versions of this for companies on the West Coast. If you want to do something custom, just contact me. But in any case, these are the times, okay? And I don't want anybody worried about, hey, well, what if I can't get to July 7th? I'm on vacation, or maybe August something, I'm on vacation. No worries, because after the course is done, you're going to have lifetime access to the session replays, right? And so, like, let's say July 7th, we do that session. Well, typically within 24 hours, I will have the replay up so you guys can watch it again. Maybe you have to step out. Maybe you have a young baby. The baby was crying, or maybe the wife came home and you have to come talk with her, whatever. You will have access to the replays of all 10 sessions for life. I'm using the same infrastructure I use for my online courses, which I've had for over 10 years now. And so, as a matter of fact, if you were in Logix Live 4 or 5 years ago, you still have access to all those sessions right now. In fact, I don't have this on the slide right here. You're going to get that previous Logix Live for free immediately when you sign up for this 2026 edition. So if you have the time, you're saying, hey, I got all of June, let me go ahead and rewatch that 7 or 8 hour session from a few years ago. You'll be able to do that immediately after signing up for this one. I figured, why wouldn't I give that away for free if people want to go back and take a look at some of the older stuff? So in any case, also, because this is going to be like an online course after the fact, you'll be able to put questions up on there well after the summer. Maybe you'll have a question in the fall. You're like, oh, Shawn covered this. I really never got it. You'll be able to ask questions in the fall or in the winter, whatever, right? Just like any of my online courses. Now, the Q&A, this is something I think people really like, is being able to do Q&A live, right? So during my presentations and my hands-on, if you have a question, you can say, hey, what are you doing there? Or wait, what is that? You can just ask it right there. You'll be able to raise your hand in the software, the streaming software. I think I'm going to use Zoom. That's what I used last time. It has all these features built in, which is great. It integrates directly with the automationschool.com. And so you'll be able to ask questions as you go. Plus, we'll have questions at the end of every session as well. Now, on the Compact Logix side, I'm only focusing on the 70, 80, and 90s, right? Same with the ControlLogix, right? I'm not going back to do some of those, the first three generations of 5550, 5555, and 5560. I've covered those in the past. You know, it's 2026, so anybody who wants to see that old stuff can definitely go back to my older legacy courses, right, where I covered them really in depth. Now, as far as Studio 5000 Logix Designer, I am going to cover what's new in version 31 through 38, but most of the hands-on I do, I think all of it will be with 38, right? Everything here in my training room is 38. 38 is what's out today. 38 still supports the 70 series, so that's what I'm going to be using. Okay, now, what you get with this when you sign up, you get instruction. Not only do you get this year's 20 hours of Logix Live Summer Bootcamp, you get the one from a few years ago immediately upon sign up, so you can go through those 7 or 8 hours. You get the tools. I give away a free PLC application simulator. If you don't have any software on your home computer and you just want to run something that simulates a PLC, it doesn't simulate, it simulates a generic PLC, not a Logix PLC. I give that away to all my students at no charge. You will also be getting my 3D digital twin and a 90-day license. So let's say you do have a Compact Logix or ControlLogix and a license of Studio 5000, but you don't want to wire up a bunch of lights and buttons and motors and everything. Maybe something you don't want to do at home, right? I'm going to give you my 3D digital twin to use with your controller. And it'll simulate everything we're doing, everything that I have here on the test stands, and you'll be able to do that right at home. What does not come in the course is, it does not, I get this from people overseas all the time, it does not include any hardware or software licenses from Rockwell, okay? So a Rockwell L16, last time I looked, the list price was $2,200. And then the software, we've talked about this before, it's about $450 a year. So no, I am not going to charge you $4,000 for this course so I can include a PLC and software license, because many of you don't need it. You have a PLC and software at work that you're going to use, right? So I'm not an authorized Rockwell reseller. You can talk to your distributor or look at the secondhand market if you want to pick something up. But I want to be very clear. I'm not giving you $2,500 in PLCs and software when you sign up this course, which is less than half of that, right? And so let's talk about the price. So right now, you can enroll through May 31st at 11:59 p.m. for just $7.99, okay? The price on the website, you'll see it says $9.99, but right now, when you add it to your cart, matter of fact, I think I have it in my cart over here somewhere. Let's see, let me bring that over to the screen. As you add it to your cart, you're going to see it's already discounted $200. That's just through the end of May. After that, it will be going up, okay? And I still think it's a phenomenal value for 20 hours of instruction, right? And lifetime's access, Q&A support for life. I think this is a great value. You guys tell me if you don't think it is, but I'm giving out so much more for just a little bit more than the last time I did this. So I hope you guys find this to be an incredible value. I'm excited about it because I want to reach more people and help more people, and I really look forward to doing this course. Now, how do you get to this lesson at theautomationschool.com? Well, I'm about to put a big banner up on the front of the site, so you'll easily be able to get to this. But I did want to say there is a shortcut I built already. It's theautomationschool.com/bootcamp, all one word. That'll take you right to that course. You just sign up there. The course page lists. Let me see if I can go there really quick. So I'm just going to, let me bring the browser back over, and I'll just type in bootcamp. Okay, and let's see if it comes up. I'm in a, yep, here it is. Okay, so great. So I wanted to show you here, this is everything I plan on covering. And of course, I will go through more if time allows, right? So this is just my first stab of, from beginning to intermediate to advanced. And so all of these things I feel are very important to cover. I covered most of this in my other courses. I cover most of this in my hands-on courses. But you'll see everything I cover, and I'll keep going as time allows, right? So in any case, I did want to show the dates though. Let me close that pop-up. So these are the dates, and the date that I'm on vacation is August 11th. I actually leave on the 5th, so I will be gone. I'm actually going to visit family. So in any case, but these are all the dates, 7th, 14th, 21st, 28th, and you can see it ends on the 15th. So if you want to sign up, you can actually save, and here's a kind of the pricing table here. Again, if you add that to your cart, okay, and look, I got to delete that. That's a typo. If you add that to your cart, you will see, if you do it before and purchase it before May 31st at 11:59 p.m., you're going to get that for $799.99. And I just wanted to show you that really quickly. Eventually, you'll start to see all the sessions fill up here, all 10 sessions fill up there. But I did want to show you that. And again, you know, I got my email here. I got my voicemail. I got my a link to submit a question. Also, you can book a meeting, 15-minute pre-sales meeting if you have additional questions. Okay, and of course, you always want to create an account if you don't have one already before you buy a course. It'll force you to, because we need to register it to you, right? So in any case, that is what I wanted to cover with you. That's what's new in school today. Don't forget, if you're not interested in Logix Live, that the sale still goes on. Now, for that sale, you do have to put in spring 2026, but that's on all of my online courses and online course bundles. And so that also expires May 31st at 11:59 p.m., but you do have to put the coupon code in to get that discount. And with that, I just want to thank you all for being students, or, you know, for watching. If you're thinking about being a student, again, if you have any questions, reach out to me. And as always, my friends, I want to wish you good health and happiness. And until next time, peace.